Specialty fruit. If you want to eat it, you got to grow it. You're not going to find mulberries in the store. Good morning, country living friends. We got a terrific heavy rain last night, so I'm not going to be watering anything in the garden today. Thought I would take this opportunity to tour my garden for April, since we went through a tour of Monticello's gardens yesterday. I'm going to start with the wall beds as usual, and this is wall bed number 1. And right now we have kale and lettuce on this end in 3 different rows. A few spinach seeds managed to get sprinkled in, and we have a few volunteer tomato plants popping up. Not tomato, potato. The rain and the lightning last night really jump-started more of the plants. We're finally having lots of consistent warm days. So while the lettuce has been short for the last 4 or 5 weeks, they are now starting to bloom and get bigger. Further down I have a few collards. I did not do too many of those. A few collard plants are all we need. They get so big, the leaves are so huge. It's plenty for me for dehydrating for our greens mix. In the corner I have some colored carrots that I wanted to try this year. I've tried them once before, didn't care for them. I'm giving them another try. I had a free seed packet, so why not? And this section was the first section of planted carrots. I have gone through and thinned them, and I'll probably thin them a little bit more in the next few weeks. Another volunteer potato plant. Some of the onions that I managed to actually get started from seed. Had a pour go around with that this spring. And this is a second batch of carrots that have been started. Another volunteer potato. And the last few of my home-started onions down here. All right, moving on to wall bed number 3. This bed only has flowers in it right now. Calendula and nasturtiums down here at this end. Just had a few seeds that I had saved from a previous year of nasturtiums. And another volunteer potato. So the calendula I will thin and put some of those plants in other beds. And then when these flowers are closer to done, I'll be putting winter squash in this bed later. All right, the next 2 beds are empty. They're gonna have watermelon and cucumber in them in a few weeks. This little corner bed by the gate had overwintered kale, which I've let go to seed so the bees and butterflies can enjoy it. I think I'm just gonna have flowers in there later on, so when I'm ready to plant something in there, I will cut the kale out, give the rest to the chickens, and then fill that bed up. Now we come to the February planted potatoes. Around here, mid-March is usually the soonest you can do potatoes, but because the wall beds stay so warm, this is my 2nd year of test starting potatoes in February, and they look good, don't they? I just row cover them on the nights when it goes to freezing. Those nights appear to be done for the year. So these potatoes are super happy. All right, I have lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, this is wall bed number 9, and these potatoes were started in March. These are Yukon Golds. And right here at the end cap, we have spinach that were seeded in the spring. I don't remember when. But I've already been taking harvest off that. We had some in our spinach tofu lasagna on Sabbath. And this spinach was a different variety. Obviously did not come up as well. but still able to harvest some. And these two spinach beds will probably be peppers or cucumbers, I don't remember, once the season's over for the spinach. This bed is still empty. It will have later on some tomatoes. I'll probably be putting in some strawberries this week. I did put some chamomile plants in the back so I can harvest them from the outside edge when they bloom later. And these are a couple cosmos plants that I've placed here, but I'm probably going to dig them up and move them. Because when I put them here, I didn't realize how big they would be, and I don't want anything that big that might lean over into my walkway. More potatoes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up this terrace section, they're potatoes. The first 3 beds are red potatoes. And this last bed are russets. The history on the russet potatoes here, I bought russets from the grocery store last spring and I planted them in the bed up here by the house. And then I did not take very good care to water them because it can get really dry up there. It's the southern side, it gets really hot, and because of the overhangs, it doesn't get an excessive amount of rain, and I should have watered them more and I didn't. So this plants never got very big. They grew potatoes, but they were not very big. So we did not eat any of those potatoes last year. I just saved them all year. And I've put them in this wall this year. So hopefully we can start getting that crop a little larger each year. I have taken out the winter spinach that was mixed in with the strawberries, and now we're just strawberries in this bed. Down at this end, some of the strawberries did not make their transplant last fall, so I have filled in with some lettuce just to make use of that space. I just took the lettuce out of this wall and I dropped some in here. I also put lettuce in some of the spots in the strawberry towers that didn't maintain their transplants either. And the last wall bed here, I just sprinkled in some spinach seeds to fill the space for now. And we have 2 parsley plants and a sage plant. All 3 of those were purchased from a greenhouse. All right, so that's the wall beds for now. Now let's go back in and look at what's growing in the ground on April 16th. These beds are numbered 1 through 8 for my ground beds, starting with the closest one to the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, then going over, boop, 5, 6, 7, 8, and coming down. So the 2 closest here, and the 2 that run in line with them down there, they have peas planted at the bottom of the trellises, and then they have potatoes planted in front. And I did plant more potatoes in this end just last week, so they haven't popped up yet, but they will also be filled in. All of these are going to be Yukon Gold potatoes in the ground this year. These 4 beds up here have brassicas, a few onions, and you can see where some of the brassicas didn't survive. So I'm going to be filling those spots in with something. So we have broccoli here and here, all broccoli. And we have cauliflower in these beds. Next year, or even this fall when I plant broccoli and cauliflower again, I'm going to go ahead and plant them closer together than they're supposed to be. That way, if I lose some of the plants, then I will still have all the plants I want, right? So, without taking up more space and having lots of blanks. I will go ahead, you know what, I'm going to leave these hoops up because I might put some netting up there just to keep the caterpillar moth off of my brassicas. We'll see. There are some little tiny onions in here. And then we're back to the potatoes and peas on this end of the garden. So that was beds 1 through 8. And I don't remember what my plans are for them after those crops come out. I'd have to look on my planning map. Ground bed number 9 is completely empty right now. I've been laying out some water lines and putting up cages just to test my spacing. Oh, look, the storm knocked a cage over. I have not zip tied those yet. But the plans are peppers, tomatoes, and summer squash at the far end. Those are the current plans. Alright, this is ground bed 10. I did not feel like I made a good use of this bed last year. I tried to fill it up more this year and I lost a bunch of broccoli down here. Some of the transplants didn't make it, and then something came in and nibbled some of the tops. So I think when I removed the row covers, maybe a bunny, maybe a deer, but they only took a few out, probably because the dogs saw them and came and scared them away, but that is so frustrating. So it's 1 row of broccoli down the edge, and I had a few broccoli here, and then potatoes the rest of the way. More Yukon Golds, more Yukon Gold potatoes here, and then this trellis is full of peas. You know what? I have some extra potato plants. I think I might fill the spots in with those. See if I'll have time to come up before it gets too hot. And that is going to be a lovely dahlia that I had last year. Made it through the winter. Coming up, it's got yellow or orangish dahlias on it. Looking forward to it. That's an onion plant from last year that survived. So I was snapping the flower heads off. I think I might let them go to flower just because they're so pretty. I don't know if I'll get good germination on the seeds. We're only a few plants here, but... And then a few little lettuces. I've already taken some out for meals, but they somehow dropped their own seeds there and started, so I let them keep growing. Good looking potatoes. More Yukon Golds. Alright, bed 11 in the ground. Only has carrots in it so far. You really can't see them yet. I'll be filling those out later. Bed 12 only has onions in it. A couple more weeks and I'll be transplanting tomatoes out here. And things will start to green up. Alright. Strawberry towers with lettuce also. And this is our hardneck and softneck garlic. We grow enough garlic for us and to share for fresh eating, for honey garlic, for dehydrated garlic, which we make garlic powder with, for medicinal needs. Every year I want to plant a little more, and every year my husband says, nope, this is enough. And then a couple weeks later he says, oh, I should have planted more. So we'll see this year if we plant more. But that is looking great. And nothing here. I think it's going to be summer squash. This is ground bed 14. All that's in it is overwintered kale, which I've let go to seed for the pollinators. I will be taking that out in a few weeks, maybe less than that, because that bed is going to have basil and tomatoes as well. I believe the plan once this garlic comes out is to put in some late tomato plants, but we shall see. Down here below the garden, we have a rescue plan for our asparagus, which I will make a little video about and share when we're finished transplanting some more in there. And the wildflower beds have lots of greens popping up in them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up here. All I hope is that it's just not a totally wasted space for this summer. And here we are back again at the top. So there's a few potatoes that are volunteering next to the house from last year. I may let them go along, but I'm planning on putting peppers up here also. Mullein is looking full, ready to go to bloom this year. And I've still been harvesting leaves and drying them, getting ready for any issues that arise during the winter months. This is my little herb garden off the front porch with a few flowers thrown in as well. This is the bird bath, which the dog often thinks is his water bowl. Oregano, chamomile. By the way, when you plant chamomile, I know the plants are little, but this is how big they get. So make sure wherever you're putting your chamomile, there'll be plenty of space. Thyme, the dirt had sunk really low, and I didn't want to bother digging anything up. And I knew if I just put dirt on top of it, the thyme would still grow up through there and refill the pot. So that's what I did. Lavender, onion chives, which I'm going to let go to seed so the patch can get a little bit bigger. Sage in those two pots because they like well-draining soil. Garlic chives here, mint. Always keep your mint, anything in the mint family, trapped in pots. You don't want them spreading. That is a cute little dahlia coming up. I believe this is a mum from last year. Lemon balm, also in the mint family. 2 dahlias. Now, last year I planted peonies, and I've never planted them before. I didn't really realize how big they could potentially get, so who knows if this is their forever home. Might be. But I have one there, a second one here, and I'll show you the third one in just a minute. But last year I thought they were just going to die, and I'm so excited to see flower buds coming up or out. I can't wait to see what they look like. I didn't think any were coming up on this one, but I see now that there are a few. Over on this side is the obnoxiously huge rosemary that I need to trim back. A mum, a volunteer kale plant, more mums. Dahlias are starting to come up. Hopefully the dogs will stop laying on them. I don't remember where that one is. I think there's another one in there somewhere. And this is the other peony. Actually, there was an extra root in the bag when I bought it. So that's a second plant I'm going to have to move somewhere. But this is also planted last year, so this is its second year. Does not get as much sunshine as the other two. Well, maybe the one back there is probably just as shaded, but that one gets more sun. This one probably gets the least sunshine. I don't see any flower buds coming up yet.